Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Chop Talk. This is the video supplemental piece to the article value stacks that we're putting out today. I am Choppadong. I am your host, coach, contributor, DFS NHL. I wouldn't even call myself a guru. I would just say that I know the fundamentals, and I'm willing to teach you the fundamentals if you want to learn the game of hockey. So jump in, learn the ropes from me, and then get better than me, and then teach me how to be you. That's what we ought to do. Everybody lift everybody up by the bootstraps, and let's make ourselves more competitive players together. You can find me out on Twitter at Choppadong all the time. You can also find me inside the DFS Army. DFSArmy.com. There's a link in the description of the tab. What I want you to do is I want you to go take a look at all of our tools, all of our strategy articles, research stations for PGA, for any of the sports that you want, domination station, completely customizable optimizer that really and truly is the most customizable in the industry. And really, I guess it's the Slack channels here that bring the value to what it is that we do. But we're a complete package, man. We are a one-stop shop for your research and everything else. So if you haven't given us a try yet, run out to dfsarmy.com, give us a shot. Use the coupon code CHOP. I will actually show you that. Use the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, trigger that 10% off discount. You can try a free month, but the 10% off of this $40 a month takes it down to $35.99 a month. The best value in the industry. We will not be $40 a month next year at this time. The prices will go up, I promise you that. As a result, use that coupon code CHOP and lock in that rate forever. Grandfather it in, $35.99 for as long as you remain a member. I can't help you if you leave and come back, but if you stay with us the whole time, I can promise you your price will never go up. So when everybody else is paying $50 and $55 and $60 a month and still getting a value, mind you, you will still be paying $35 a month and you'll be laughing at them. So use coupon code CHOP. Friends don't let friends pay retail. Let's jump in. What we'll do is we'll build a little bit of a lineup here as we go, but we're going to focus a little bit on where we start. And where we always seem to start is with the line production on left wing lock, and we're sorting by 3 games. Tonight's a 15-game slate, and very, very, very large player pool to pick from. So we want to sort out the hottest of the hot, sort by goals for, run down the top 10 lines. You can run a little deeper in that if you want to. See who's scored 4 and 3 goals, 3 and 4 goals in their last 3 games. And you can find that Boston's on there still. Dallas is on there twice with their 1 and their 3. New York Islanders are on there with their 1 and their 2. And Toronto's on there. Colorado's still on there. Colorado just keeps on clicking. Vegas is on there with their 1 and their 2. And there's a little sneaky shot at Minnesota. So what we're going to look for is who of these guys are in good spots. Who's facing weaker defenses? Well, let's look at, there's New York. New York's on there twice. New York is still giving up goals like crazy. Toronto's giving up goals. The Colorado one's giving up goals. Minnesota's giving up goals. San Jose's giving up goals. These are the teams we want to be targeting. So that's largely what I do. I write these down. I match them up. I see who's playing who tonight, and then I want to target the teams that are scoring against the teams, and specifically the lines. How do I know the line matchups? Home ice advantage. In hockey, home ice advantage seems to have, they have the last right of switching their lines when they play on the fly. So let's say that I'm the Vegas coach and my second line is running hot as hell, and I know that the crappy defense is the New York 2. Then when the New York 2 changes lines and hops out on the ice, bam, I'm going to dump my 2 out there on them. Match up with them because it's more likely I'm going to score against their crappy defense. I'm not going to. Now, the other way to do that if I'm a defensive-minded head coach is I know that my 2 is my best defensive line. I'll match it up against their 1, which is their best line, and I'll roll that way too. But I get to change. I get to see what the other coach does, and I get to react to it. So in a lot of cases, as a default rule, you're going to run the top lines at home and the second line's on the road, because the top line's going to get matched up against the other top line. The second line usually gets the weaker second line. That's not always the case, and there's a lot of cases where we can go into it someday where a certain line is better than another and a better target, and you can tell when they're going to match up, and then you can usually, that's where the DFS pros have an advantage over everybody else. It's just kind of guessing and throwing crap together. We understand correlation. We understand the matchups. We understand what's likely to happen. We also know who's running hot and who's running cold, and we can match that up accordingly. And on a big slate like this, we can process information much more efficiently than the average player, and that's why we have the edge. Do we win every night? No. But that's why we have the edge, is we can do that. So let's take a quick look at finding value, because this is how we always start. when we dive in, we want to go to the player stats here on Roto Grinders, the skater stats, sort by 4 weeks, call up all of these guys, and then I like to cap the salaries to find my value, to sort out all the high price guys, get rid of them, because I'm looking strictly for cheap value. So I cut down sometimes to 4,000, sometimes to 5,000, whatever. And then I'm going to sort by fantasy points down here. Bring all the high producers up to the top over the last 4 weeks. Gives me a good 10 to 12 game sample. And then I'm going to look at who's running best, who's scoring the points, who's averaging the most points over a sustained period of time. That's who's running hot. And looky there, Bovier gets right to the top. Let me show you why. At 4,100, his price has come up quite a bit. It's going to continue to come up as long as he keeps producing. So we won't be able to ride this train forever. But multi-goal games in his past 2 and in 3 of his past 6. That's hot. 8 goals in his past 7. He's pretty boom or bust. There's not a lot of help in there, not a lot of assists, but he's shooting the puck on goal. He's scoring goals right now, therefore he's accumulating fantasy points in bunches. That's the kind of guy we want to focus on for value. Now run him as a one-off, stack him with his line. You saw the New York 2 was doing pretty well. Stack him with the line. Look at I call him Anastasia because I get it confused with the old Disney movie Anastasia. My kids are small, what are you going to do? But anyway, so I butcher his name, Anastasia. I'm going to tell you he gets 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes of ice time. He doesn't score a lot. He's more of a helper. He's got 5 assists in his last 5 games. He's producing about a point a game. Doesn't shoot a ton. But when he puts when he sets the play up and ends up with the assist, you get 20 points out of him. And he's done that 3 times in the past 5 games. A couple of 6s and then boom, a couple more big games. So that's really and truly what you're after, guys. You're just trying to stack the deck with this value and put it into your favor as best you can. Brian Rust is another one. Only 1 goal though, or 1 game. Lowry, and I think he's hurt. I keep scrolling down a little bit. I'm trying to find some really, really cheap stuff that's hitting the Barkowski. No. Soderberg's a good one out of Colorado. He's cheap. He's under 4K. That's not terrible. It's not super exciting, and a lot of these are not going to be super exciting now that we keep, we're digging down a little bit deeper. As a defender, Brad Hunt's somebody I'm going to write up today. Here's why. He got a goal and a couple of assists. That's a big game, but he's got 3 big games in his last 3. He's running pretty hot. He's on the power play too, and he's dirt cheap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, does it make sense to leave him as a one-off, or do I want to stack him up? And if I look at the starting lines, I want to also see, since he's in Vegas, since Hunt down here is in Vegas, he's on the power play too, that second Vegas line was running hot. When I look at Hala, running hot. When I look at Neal, he's going to be expensive. I may or may not take Neal tonight, but he's running hot. And then when I look at Perron, running hot. So why wouldn't I want 4 players running double digits with some value in it? Cheaper here than it is up here. So what I might do when I run my lineup is the first thing I might do, well, first of all, I always pick my goalie. So let me pick a middle-of-the-road goalie tonight just for kicks. We'll throw Carter Hutton down in there. I haven't done a lot of goalie research yet, but then I'm going to run over here into the Vegas 2, and I'm going to start taking that stack. I know it's already got the defense in it, or the value in it with Hunt, right? And now I can scroll down a little bit and find these guys. Neal's on the second line. Perron is on the second line. And Hala's on the second line. And now I got 5,800 for, 4 more guys. If I want to run another, another stack of some kind, I can play around now. I've got a good stack here in a good spot. Let's say I want to run the 2 in New York. I know it's a game stack, it's the same game. If the game goes 2-1 tonight, I'm toast. But, I could limit exposure with just the 1. I could limit exposure by dropping out one of these other guys. Let's say I take out Neal. Now my value's back up to 6,600 per player. I like doing this. This is kind of a bottom-up structure. This is building from the value upwards. And the reason why is I can watch this and I can see how expensive I can get. If I want to try and jump down into Boston, because we know Boston's, let's actually do Colorado instead. Colorado's expensive. Let's grab McKinnon and Rantanen. Now I've got to get some value again, but I'm okay. you know, 5,600 for a wing and for a defender. If I ran them as one-offs, I can go sorting through and find guys that I want to stack, but I can also run them as one-offs. Let's say that I want to run, you know, my dude, the name I butcher, Anastasiou, because he's in a pretty good spot. 4,800 is going to bring me all the way up to 6,500 for a defenseman. Do you think I can find a defenseman for 6,500? Carlson for Ottawa, Seth Jones, Jossie, and you know, Nashville's in a pretty good spot. Letang, Pietrangelo, Subban, Gospear. Carlson quarterback's the one, and you know, Florida's weak. I've got 800 left over. Now what do I want to do? I want to take Anastasiou back out. Then let's look at Carlson in Washington and see if we can't correlate him. This is just how you do it. You just play with lines. And Carlson's should be on the power play 1. He's on the second unit, so he should be getting some time with both of these guys. He might even get you some Lars Eller time. But let's say, what am I looking for? A wing? If I'm looking for a winger, TJ Oshie, Dadonov on the other side. Could certainly do that. Let's see what Oshie's doing lately. He's coming up a little bit. Not terrible. Not great. Dadonov's not terrible. You know, I'm going to give away some of my secret value plays here, but his price is way too cheap for what he's been doing lately. He's in a decent spot. So, I mean, this is just some of the stuff that you could do. Let's say you didn't want to run Carlson. Let's say at 5,700. Let's say you wanted to run, well, let's do Klingberg out of Dallas. In fact, let's blow this one up. Let's take the one out and see what this does for us in Dallas. Let's say I wanted to run Sagan and Radulov, the two hot guys, and now I've got 5,200 left for a wing, and I'm loaded on the Vegas 2, the New York 1 with the value play, and I've got a one-off left at wing for 5,200. I want him to be on a power play somewhere. I want him to be in a good spot tonight if I can find it. DeBrincat, Foligno, Palmieri, Backus. Backus should get a bump up with the Marchand suspension. Marner, Connor, Heinen, Dadonov again. There's Dadonov. Why not? There's a lineup. I mean, this is just how you do it. Let's do it one more time. Let's run through. We don't need to keep Hunt in there. Let's say that we want to run 2 more value plays tonight. Vlasic on defense out of San Jose, correlating with Timo Meier. Let me show you how that one works. Go to starting lines, go down to San Jose. Vlasic's on the second defensive pairing on the power play 2. Timo Meier's on the top line, gets you exposure to these guys, also gets you some exposure to a Burns goal, and he's on the power play 2. So he's spread out. What he's given you is correlation in multiple ways. This little correlation runs on the ice together a lot so they can get the assist and the goal, but they also give you extra exposure elsewhere. Vlasic's on the power play 2, but Vlasic's going to be running with the second line if they do the scoring with Tierney and LeBlanc and Hertl. And then you can look at Timo Meier, who is got exposure to Pavelski, Couture, and Burns. So wherever the goal comes from in this San Jose game, if they score 2 or 3 goals, I've likely got a piece of 2 or all of them because I've spread myself out. I've correlated myself together in one area of the game, but I've also spread myself out in a couple of other ways. So now I'm getting exposure everywhere. That's how you correlate in hockey. So it's a good starting point when these guys are value plays. Now I can do whatever I want because my average salary is up over $6,000. Let's say that I liked tonight. I wanted well, let's say I wanted St. Louis and Colorado. You know, let's go back to the Colorado line of Rattan and them, and my second defenseman. Let's say I wanted Eric Johnson to be in there because he correlates with them as well. Double check. You're always double checking to make sure the lines haven't shifted around on you when you start learning the league. These power play ones are all on the top line. There's McKinnon and Rantanen right there. Then I can come down here and grab Eric Johnson on the first defensive pairing. Yes, he gives me exposure to the power play 2 and Soderberg, Ekbok, Kerfoot. If they do the scoring, you know, I might get a piece of that. But he runs on the first defensive pair, which means he's going to be running with the ones a lot as well. And when I double check Eric Johnson's game log, he's been running well lately. You know, if he runs over, say, double his salary over 10 points, he's doing 3 games in a row. There's an 8, there's a 14, 1 bad game, 2 bad games in his last, say, 12. So he's a pretty safe player as far as hockey goes. And so I've got McKinnon, Rantanen, and Johnson. And I don't really want a ton more on such a big slate. I want to spread out. I've got 2 teams I'm attacking. Let's go back down here into the New York and Vegas game. And let's say we take, can we get Marchessault and Carlson? Nope. Don't have enough left over for that. So I'd probably have to focus on either blowing up the Colorado line or dropping down here with Perron and Haula. And now I got 5,100 for a one-off. Guess who that is? I can run that with Anastasia here at 4,800. I could also run it on the other side of the game with big value in Bouvier and have 1,000 left over. Now, do I want to upgrade my goalie? Let's say I think that, I can get any of them. Say I think Tuukka Rask in it. I don't care what the price of my goalie is anymore. I've got money on the table and I'm happy with this combination. You know, if you like Carter Hutton, run Carter Hutton. Leave $1,000 on the table. It's okay. Or come take some of your value back out of there. Let's say I want to run Timo as a one-off, or let's say I don't want Eric Johnson anymore, or let's say I don't want David Perron. I just want Haula, or let's say I don't even want Haula and I want a $6,800 center from somewhere. I mean, these are things I can do, but now I'm having fun. I'm picking from studs. You see what I'm saying? If I want to correlate Barzal with Bouvier, I can. I've still got 500 to play with. I'm picking from studs now. I can leave my punts in place. Let's say I wanted to get rid of, I don't know. If I wanted to get rid of Rantanen and run Landeskog, free up more money, now maybe I can get into, probably can't, but now I might be able to get into the Marchessault and Carlson. Nope, can't quite. Oh, I'm 100 short. Look at that, I'm 100 short. I can find $100. And I've got McKinnon. I've got the 2 top lines of Colorado and Vegas that are scoring and doing the damage. I've got good value play that's correlated. If I wanted to, I'd take out Johnson. Don't correlate it quite as tight. Take a one-off from, Edler's price went up. What a bummer. Let's look at Nashville then. Nashville's always in a pretty good spot defensively, with their defensive players anyway. See if we can find a 5,000 guy out of there. Turris, Boyle, Zajac, Bonino, Zaki. Where's my defenseman? That's what I want. Ryan Ellis. If I wanted to complete that, 28 points, 18 points, 14, 20. That's okay. You guys, it's hockey. You got to mix and match. You got to play with it. You just start correlating where you want to go with lines, and you just goof. That's how you do it. It's been about 20 minutes. You've got an idea of where we're going to go on this slate. Follow the write-up. Follow the video. Hopefully that helped you, teach you a little bit of choosing from studs at the end of your construction instead of trying to figure out where that $3,400 guy is and which crappy player am I going to play. Don't do that to yourself. Start with that lower value when you go searching for it first, plug it in, and then at the end of your construction, start completing stacks. Start playing with the studs that could really go off. I promise you'll have more fun building lineups. You'll also score better, and you'll win more money. And if you want deeper conversation and you want to learn where these value plays are coming from and you don't want to do the research yourself, go to dfsarmy.com, use coupon code CHOP, become a VIP, and let us tell you. That's what we do all day long. Take care, boys. We'll see you next week after the All-Star break. Peace out.